When the banks are bleeding
they make
from something that they don't know what's going on, so you take into consideration the reason why. And I think this is a big deal that most Americans don't know. You look at your ATM card. Pull your ATM card on the desk, wherever you are. You look at it. There's a chip in there. There's a SIM card in there.
Mm-hmm.
That SIM card was established to stop people from doing the things that I've done. Because that kind of sways the perception of the ATM, so that I cannot as easily clone your card and go and take your funds. So that's
because it's harder to clone the chip versus just take the numbers.
Chip, from my understanding of the chip, it changes every time you use it. So if I clone it right now, so like I said, this is not a person coming behind you taking your information and trying to do it right after you. There's collected information. You collect this for a period of time, and then you go and you hit your lick.
Mm-hmm.
So now with that is like, if you use it now and you withdraw some money, and then 5 minutes later you went and you put some fuel in your vehicle. Mm-hmm. And you use it, now that sways that little chip, so it's not the same, So
I saw my brother-in-law when I saw him this week, a couple weeks ago, he had this little device thing, and he tapped the card, and with the tap of he just tapped the cards literally. Yep. It picked up all the card numbers that was on his little device. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, so this is the aspect of that. That's a credit aspect, You can steal people's credit identity fairly easily. But to use it, it's like you're jumping through hoops, and this is completely different from what I was doing. But of course, you're up to hackers and scammers, and you're going online. You can easily get hacked. You have these people in India doing the things that they're doing. You have to protect yourself, The thing is there's one thing to get robbed, and it's another thing to steal from an entity, because that's how I perceive it, However, it doesn't justify it.
Did you guys, so you went to federal prison?
I did. I did some time in the state, and then I got indicted to the feds.
What did you think about when they first got you? Like, what was going through your mind?
How old are you?
Tony Montana, man.
Tony Montana.
How old are you when this is going
18,
on?
bro.
Yeah, he said 18.
So you're fresh 18.
Fresh 18, my friend. Living a fairly beneficial life, not based on, of course, the money that I made, I think maybe made me more hardened for, and the people that I broke bread with and I rubbed elbows with made me more prepared or hardened for the aspects that I was about to go through. You can't do the time, don't do the crime. I took it on, of course. It was.
How long did you do?
20 months.
20 months, so almost 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
So you've never been to real state prison, but you've been to federal. What do you think's the difference?
So I got indicted to the feds. I did some couple months of county jail in New York. I'm sure you can assume where I was at. And then I got indicted to the feds. I was in MDC Brooklyn. Two different aspects. You're dealing with petty criminals, and then you go to the feds and you're dealing with high-ranking criminals, where respect is something very sought after. Of course, you still have the bodies that circulate inside their own economies and stuff. It was an interesting thing to take into.
What type of criminals are in federal prison?
Criminals, real criminals.
Are we talking about murder? We're talking about
terrorists.
There were terrorists in there. Okay. This was around the time when these guys tried to blow up an airport or something. Two younger kids. 2010, 11. Around that time, it's incredibly different, bro. One of the people that I rubbed elbows with for a period of time was and I don't want to drop any names, one of the top 10 richest drug dealers to be captured, and you would have never known, at least.
So we were talking about LaBarbie on the last one.
Who's LaBarbie?
LaBarbie's
the guy that went missing.
Yeah, the guy that went missing out of federal records, and they're saying that he might have been removed because they're getting ready to testify in a trial against a ex-prime minister of Mexico.
Sure.
So something possible. Like that,
And that ex-prime minister is linked with a lot of American government names.
Possible. So, because what I noticed
I'm curious to know where he was. If he was in a prison, or was he in a detention center like me, MDC. Brooklyn, I was Metropolitan Detention Center, Brooklyn. So it's not like a legit. You're in the pen. You're doing, depending on what charge you get segregated based on your crime. So there's low, there's mediums, there's highs. I would have been a
level
low.
1 through 4 type thing.
Yeah,
where
that's
So-
you're at?
feds are a bit different.
So I don't know if you guys heard about this, but like on the news just recently was a guy who was scamming in like Santa Monica, I believe it was. And what he was doing is he was putting like fake parking tickets on people's cars. And the big deal about it was not that he was putting fake parking tickets. I feel like that might have not been a big deal, but there was actually like a like an email, not email, but like a website address where people would go and actually pay. He was like a 19-year-old kid. Like, what kind of crime is that? Is that like
fraud.
Is that a federal crime too?
And
Like,
you're portraying yourself to be a power of law, right?
which I believe that
You're
parking people aren't they like part of like
you're
the
impersonating a police officer.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, I mean-
for him, he took it to the next level. You're impersonating a police entity.
Yeah,
And
didn't
he
pay a
collected
parking
on
ticket,
that.
and they're over here trying to pick me up. I
So
gotta
that
pay my
might be a
parking
big-
ticket to get my registration done. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I mean that's
bigger
a
deal.
kind of a brilliant criminal, I would say.
Oh yeah,
You
you're not
know,
gonna question it like that. So
if you sit and you think about it, it's like brilliant, but it's like also you look at it like you're skimming off of the top, right? Like how,
you're playing with fire. You're throwing
like
You're,
where do
you're
you have to
technically
go?
robbing people at that point.
Where do you have to go in your brain to look at that and say like the Matrix? The Matrix has been built on these rules and regulations, and how can I try to dwindle on them and I took it the same way, right?
Matrix. So okay, all right. There's probably a lot of people listening to the Matrix, Illuminati, this and that. But who are those people? Like, is there a face to it? Is there like a person? Is there a bunch of people? Who are they?
it's the higher ups from what they say, right? It's
People
the ones
that
that
wanna
run
hold you
everything.
in.
But who is the higher up? Like, for example, is there like a room of people where they like got a club, they kick in, and like screw everybody else? Like, what is
the
it?
ones
you
that
know?
are connected with the right people? That I feel like that's what it really comes down to. Who do you know?
I had some very interesting things that I was reading not too long ago, and they were saying like, you look at the United Nations, right? The people that are in like the UN, there's a group that pushes the agenda of UN. Those people are not elected, and you don't even know who those people are. We don't know a
That's
lot
a
of
good point.
things, you know. We
How
don't
do they
know.
even get to where they're at?
We don't know a lot
I
of
don't
things.
know.
And you look at the United Nations and their expansion and what they try to propose. You look at all of Eastern Europe and in Europe in itself and what they're trying to do. It's incredible to see that what they're trying to push is what we've become accustomed to as Americans. And you have Europe, Romania, still is morally inclined, has a specific aspects of rules and regulations where you don't need billions of dollars of police force because people pay attention and they watch. And if they see one guy get beat up, they're going to jump in and help.
So, you know, like we talked about how Romania is a good country to be in morally, this, that, right? But it's probably one. It's one of
It's
probably
a tough place to be.
But they say it's pretty corrupt. And I remember growing up there, how you get pulled over, man, you just handing over a couple dollars. Like I mean, the money we had back then, but you'd pay off the costs. And when you came here and you realize you can't do that because you'll go to jail if you try to bribe the cop, it's like, what? You can't bribe the
Yeah,
cop.
see, it's funny because Andrew Tate was talking about how he was in that country and he said the same thing, right? You can pay the people off in that country. And it's funny because in the recent months, he, from what I heard, converted over to Islam. And that country is predominantly Orthodox, Christian, right? Based. Mm-hmm. And so you have to think the Orthodox and the Christian church has very much a lot of pull and a lot of control in that country. So for him to go and kind of, convert over to Islam in that country,
101
to convert over to that country, it's like, dude, you're kind of slapping them in the face because you were over here all about their values and their moral beliefs, and then you went and changed to a different set that's not really what they align with.
I mean, you really think that you think
the guys in the behind the politics taking the bribes really care about religious ideology?
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so.
Well, you know what? I feel
either.
like he's lucky that he got caught up in
Well,
Romania.
you know what he's doing now, though? In my opinion, I apologize to interrupt you. But I think right now, though, he's relating not only to the Christian ideologies, but now he's got a lot of the Muslims, too. The Muslims understanding and believing him because they're, they say that in the Christian realm of ideology that the Christians and the Muslims are very close, Even the Jews. but we're going into a whole deeper can of worms. You know, worms, whatever you want to call them. But the aspect is this: now he's got two sides of a younger generation of men that now really
you think he's
enjoy
diversifying his like demographics?
He is, pretty much, and that's even more settling for the Matrix, because before the Middle East didn't give a rat's ass about Western ideology and what he's speaking of, but now he's relating to those people.
So he's touching closer to more homes.
So let me tell you something. What I think, this was like something that crossed my mind. Well, first I was gonna say I think he's lucky that he's in Romania because they're easily paid off there, so he could. That's probably how he got out, or whatever, right? I don't know.
He's not out.
Well, I thought he was already out.
No, from my understanding, he is not.
Yeah, from my understanding as well, is he's in there for 30 days. I don't know what the laws are out there, but they're able to detain somebody for 30 days, and they've got him held for 30 days.
So how did he come out? How did he put out the tweets the next day?
I've seen somebody else talking about how he has not been actually. They've not actually pressed any charges on him.
The way Romania works is like they catch you, they lock you up, they take into consideration the charges. It's not even, from my understanding right now, it's not about human trafficking. It's money laundering. He owns casinos.
Yeah. They did say at first. So that's the kind of iffy. It's like
everybody in the Western world is saying what they want to hear. Oh, he's a misogynist.
Well, I think they're trying to put that image out, like, oh, he's sex trafficking, this, that, because that sits worse with like the people. But then they switched it to money laundering, which is like most people probably won't really care about. Like, damn it, he's not a sex trafficker.
Listen, a crime is a crime, right? You take into consideration where where your wealth is brought in from. You know, but the money laundering is a very simple aspect to be able to prove or to ask questions, right? So it's like if I invest $30,000 into my business account that I get from cash value that I've had through my life. I went and I pawned some money. Down the line, they can come and ask, where's this $30,000 from? Well, I sold gold. Well, what proof do you have that you sold gold? And I'm talking in a small scale, right? 30,000. It could have been a business that I've sold, and I was trying to keep my money maybe tax exempt or tax free. Tax evasion and money laundering are one of the things that they cut Al Capone for. Out of all the crimes that he committed, what did he go to prison for? Tax
evasion. Yeah,
that's the easiest one to prove.
Well, that's the easiest one to catch
for them.
someone.
The easiest one for them to throw out. You could come back and say, hey, 10 years ago you didn't pay $20 in taxes. I'm coming for your ass. And that's what they do.
Well, it seems to me like the IRS doesn't really want people in jail because then they can't really pay for their, like the money that supposedly they took.
There's another man right now, from my understanding, that is from Romania. And he had his daughter make a complaint. Now, there's some factual information, too, that a lot of people don't know, that there were women in his circle that were offered good amounts of money to be able to come out against him.
Well, there was originally 4 people arrested, right? When he was arrested, it was
I'm talking
him.
about prior to
saying
that.
that there's women that were paid to
were tried.
Okay.
They were bribed. The bribe was given to speak against this man's name, And it's like, why? What if this man was not caught by the authorities until he decided to go vast and speak about his ideas? You think that right now? Let's be serious. The first time they would have came at him, they wouldn't have canceled him for no reason. They would have questioned him. They would have found out some negative things he would have done in business, and they would have locked his ass up. And then they finished their problem, right?
So let me tell you guys
they did that first.
They could do that.
I'm sure that's like, look, we're playing chess or checkers, my friend. These men play chess, not checkers, right?
Yep.
So you think about, how am I going to cancel this man? I'm going to cancel him by trying to find something bad in his background that I could easily silence him. And they couldn't do that, right? They even offered these women money to be able to come and speak out against him. They saw that they couldn't do that. So the next step is what? We're going to cancel him because right now he's reaching too many people. He reached those people, and then they realize now that he converted to Islam, is like now he's reaching even a more percentage of people because the Middle East and all of this is talking about. And you see, like, the Middle East is not very happy with Western society and their ideals. So what is he creating? He's creating pretty much an awakening. So facts.
I don't know if you guys saw, but like it seems like basically his statistically, like the Google trends and all that, they were kind of going down. His name wasn't really popping up like it used to. when he first popped up, right? The hype on Andrew Tate was kind of going down. And my conspiracy is, what if it was all set up by him to pop back up,
He
beat
doesn't
the
need
case,
that. He doesn't need
and
that.
get the views? I don't know. I'm just saying.
The year
Like,
just ended. He's still the number one.
Yeah,
Search
2022.
for
He was the
number one
search.
viewed for person in the world.
well, look, check this out. So you guys said that he was still in, but I just saw. I don't know if they took him back, but I saw a video of him talking about how he was in the cell doing push-ups and all this and that, and the guard was hating on him and all. He read the worst book of his life, and he read 3 pages, and then he'd do push-ups and 3 pages and push-ups, and he did that 23 hours, and he was locked up for 23 hours. I did see something
recently. Just recently.
just now, but I guess
Okay.
that he did.
I'm sure that you could look this up.
I did see something
Yeah,
about that the judge accepted some type of thing from like the cops or whatever to
So,
keep him for 30 days.
I have Romanian television in my home, and
He got the insights.
I got the insights.
All
So
right.
they were saying, I saw his attorney speak. They pretty much had the appeal of that initial time frame, and they decided to not give him the bail because he is a flight risk. And
So how much time is he looking at if they were to say, let's say, I guess the crime.
I looked at it like 10 years. I think the maximum of his charges are like 10 years, but they all in Romania they all run together. So it's concurrent is when they run separately. You have to for every charge you get, they put them together. Is there any information you got back there on his release? I'm 99% sure he's
and
not.
from what I've seen, they haven't even pressed charges against him now. Everything has just been like,
Well, Romania, they don't do it like that. They
yeah,
don't
it's
press
different
charges
than
on you.
different than how we run our stuff here. Like here, you're going to be pressed with charges before they come and arrest you, give you a bail amount, allow you to get out, give you some type of that you have to do this much time before we can let you out type stuff. But over there, from what I'm hearing, is they haven't even officially charged him with anything. They're
That's
just
weird.
They're
You
just
guys
saying
talk about corruption. You guys talk about corruption. I would love to see if I'm factually inclined on this aspect. Romania passed law saying that you cannot go to prison for corruption.
No way.
A few
Wow.
years ago.
Well, that's pretty corrupt.
I would like to.
That's corrupt itself, right?
Yeah. Imagine you living in a country where they pass a law that you could be in law and be corrupt, yet you don't have to follow the same rules and regulations of society. You're in the hierarchy.
So, because that kind of falls into like you guys been following up with what's it called, the Rico case, right, against Young Thug. That's
why they call me Lil Rico.
Essentially, that's basically corruption, right? Isn't that really what it is? It's like, well, it's not a corruption. It's almost like a mafia type of deal, right? Because it sounds to me like that.
A RICO means that you're trying to start an organization.
Well,
right?
racketeering, you have to carry bodies, you have to carry money, drugs. There's a lot
They
of
say that
aspects.
for racketeering, for them to get you for that, you have to commit at least 2 crimes within 10 years.
And you have to have a body in a racketeering case.
Oh,
There has
really?
to be a death.
Oh,
In
I
the
didn't know
feds.
that.
In the feds, from my understanding, yes.
Oh, okay. Then I didn't know that. So, well, that's the kind of funny part. We were talking about that case. Young Thug got that. There's like 28 defendants or whatnot, and one of his main people, Gunna, you heard about him? He got out.
He's a rat.
Well,
Yeah.
So you heard about so.
I don't even know. I'm just saying.
Okay,
he
so-
got
so-
out. He's a rat.
So let me tell you something.
I don't know. Honestly, I have no information about this.
So it smells like rat.
That's
It
all you
sounds
gotta
like
tell
rat.
me.
You're
If it look
probably a
like it
rat.
smell like it tastes like it, it's probably what it is.
Right,
you
so-
know?
I don't want to speak bad on nobody's name.
Hey,
but
so
it sounds to
6ix9ine
me-
came out. 6ix9ine came out and went on the internet and he said, "Hey, all of you rappers, we're talking shit about me because I came out and I snitched. But now Gunna comes out and all your favorite rappers are coming out snitching, and everybody's silent." Well, Gunna came out and supposedly his attorney said that, "Oh no, he didn't tell, he didn't snitch, none of that." But now he's actually on record admitting to crime, saying, "Yeah, I was there, I was this, I was that."
He took a plea deal. In order to take a plea deal, you have to
Not even a plea, bro. You become an agent of the government.
Exactly, but when you do that, you throw away all of your rights. Your right to remain silent and all that. You say, "Hey, I'm not gonna abide to all that. I'm just gonna work with you guys," and that's what he did because
Yeah,
he's
well,
not.
You have to for them
So
to take
now
you,
they could legally indict him and tell him that he has to come and talk to court because he gave away his Fifth Amendment right.
Yeah.
He doesn't get
He's
to say
already
I plead the
indicted.
Fifth. Yeah, he's
What
done.
they will do, they will bring him into court to have to speak against these people if they go to trial.
They
Exactly.
say that if he
Exactly.
that they say that they can legally bring him into court, just
Yeah.
like you said.
Yep.
And if he refuses to testify at the time, they can hold him in the jail
contempt
until he
of court.
testifies.
That's contempt of court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. You just copped the plea. You know, you copped the plea.
Yeah, you
right?
said-
I will tell you, motherfuckers, whatever the fuck you want to know. I went through the aspect, right? They tried to get me to fucking.
So,
run
did you
my mouth.
snitch?
I did not, man, and I'm proud of myself. Clearly, I did not.
Yeah,
I
you
did
did.
my time,
Yeah, I'm
bro.
kidding,
At that age, you know, they would have give me a slap on the ass and said, "Run home to your mama." That's what they would have done. to
Right,
me,
right,
you
right.
know?
If you
But I
told
didn't,
them-
you know, and that brought him even more ego.
Yeah.
Trip, you
So
know,
all
they're
you
like
kids-
this little motherfucker.
Well, you know,
Everybody,
because-
you
and
wanna
that's
get-
why-
you want to get into the life.
Well,
don't
like you're
realize-
saying, bro.
Don't.
Like you're saying, you
If
have
you
to
want
do-
to realize what comes with it.
you have to do time, right, for like maybe something way smaller than what they did, like murders and all kinds of stuff, right? But the thing is, Gunna comes out, right? He says he didn't snitch, but the DA asked him in court. It says,
It's a
"Hey,
fact, bro. I'm sorry. I'm not very educated on the whole case itself, but for you to tell me you have charges that include murder, or you have, let's say you have a group of people that are being held right now, right? This is how it works. You have a group of people being held and nobody speaks. Everybody's going to be held because at the end of the day, they do not know. They're trying to put together a spreadsheet of who did what and who controlled what. Right? So they don't know if you're at the top. They don't know if you're at the bottom, you know, depending on the entire aspect, you know, because it's the United States government versus all of the co-defendants.
exactly."
So it's not one person, two people. You got
Well,
a
that's
body.
the funny thing. What I was telling you is that he said he didn't snitch, but what did he say, Roy? He said the DA asked Gunna, "Hey, at this time you were pulled over. There was meth in the car. There were guns. There were all this and this that. Was that yours?"
Did your
No.
associate sell drugs at this point? He says yes. He's admitting to multiple things. Check it out.
Well, did your associate that's snitching?
Yeah, he's admitting to things.
To me,
but
that's snitching. Because check it out. I've had charges filed against me before, and I didn't sit there and tell the DA, yes, I agree to that. I agree to this. I agree to that. I agree
I
to
don't
this. I
answer
agree to that.
questions.
You know what I mean? I just
You don't even speak to the DA. You
no,
speak
no, no,
to
no,
an
no. We
attorney.
don't speak
Well,
to
that's
nobody.
the
Hey,
thing.
either I'm going to
DA.
plead guilty or I'm going to say, hey, I didn't do nothing and take my ass
Listen,
to
I'm
trial.
gonna be real with you. If you get caught in an indictment like this because you're rubbing elbows with motherfuckers that are breaking bread properly and they're doing whatever they're doing, and I get caught in an indictment, you know, I don't know anything. So unless the government can prove that I've committed crimes to keep me or to hold me in this indictment, the indictment, then you have to take a lot of things into consideration. But if you just
Yep.
get caught up in an indictment because you've been on the phone with these people, yet you haven't broken bread with them, and they don't, because the government knows they're not going to come and indict you unless they know what value you
they
have.
know you
for
had
sure,
something
for
to
sure.
do with it.
They know.
Yeah.
And well, that's the thing. When he was saying that, they asked, right, when the DA asks him, like, "Hey, did this happen when you got caught up with the drugs and all this stuff in the car? Was that yours?" And he says, "No." Well, there was only one more person with him, so who was it then? Right? So by default, he
whose
snitched.
car was it?
Yeah.
You have a lot of questions as an attorney you can take into consideration. Whose car was it? Was it a rented car? Did you guys just rent a car? Do I have a possible plea to be able to say both of you can say no? We just picked up the car from a rental place, or we dropped the car off somewhere. You take into consideration your defense avenues, right? 'Cause
Yeah, well, I guess what happened is, like, there was actually a murder that happened or a drive-by, and the car that, you know, did the drive-by or whatever happened was rented by
for
Young
X,
Thug.
Triple X,
Yeah.
for Triple X.
No,
Right? Is that
I think
it?
I think that was a different one.
Because I heard about these guys had to be called in.
I
what's
feel
his
like if
name?
it was for
Drake and-
if it was for XX, they would have got a lot more media coverage over that. I don't think that's really what
Did
it
I-
was.
It was
I've
something
seen
that
no
happened in
media.
like 2015, I think.
Yeah,
they
it
were
was
saying.
before Extensión got killed in what, like 2018, 2019. So it was before that.
Oh, okay. They're trying to. Oh, he was thinking it was tied up to that.
Yeah, yeah.
But the reality is this: it's like the difference in between Romania and America. You take into consideration, America is so compartmentalized that you cannot take the corruption or the like the bribes that you'd be able to take in Romania, right? Romania, you could take it. You could pay people off through the hierarchy of where it is. It's a small place. Here, it's compartmentalized. You have your DAs, you have your prosecutors, which is your DAs. You have your judges. You have the people, the Secret Service or whoever, FBI, that was involved in all of this. You cannot easily say why people are losing evidence and things like that. It's compartmentalized. That's where the freedom comes into the aspect that you have to take into consideration to be able to be like Nancy Pelosi's husband. You have to be at the top of the hierarchy, right?
Yeah. Well, you guys saw what happened and how you guys seen the documentary of the Jeffrey
Epstein guy?
Epstein?
Yeah.
Sure.
He paid off like the DA. He paid everybody off, bro.
Yeah, Bill Clinton and all the
They paid
higher-ups
him.
chilling.
In my opinion, they paid him and they gave him the avenues to be able to put these political people that had high stature and they could blackmail them with in the places and to do the things that they did, and he would record them and use that as blackmail to be able to push agendas.
Like you said earlier, they're playing chess.
Yeah.
Is that why you think they killed him?
They're thinking
Or he
5
died?
steps.
I don't think he's dead.
No, a lot of people say
Absolutely
that
not,
he
bro.
got killed in prison in New York.
So
or
you're
whatever.
telling me, though, to the entire aspect of me being, when I get arrested by the feds, right now, I am a liability for them, and they need to keep me safe, fed. There's a lot of avenues that come into the consideration that, because if you arrest me and I die before I'm considered guilty, there's a huge liability that comes into people being able to sue the government for you mishandling me. Because I'm a body, right? You've taken full control of me, where you place me, right? So if I go into the feds and I'm facing 2 years, that's why they compartmentalize the feds too. Is like, but when you're in the detention center is where you're mixing in. But usually they still have floors, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
So where do you think Jeffrey is?
I don't give a fuck, but he's not dead. He's 6 feet under, I'll tell you that, in my opinion. Why would they get rid of him? If they did want to get rid of him and kill him, they would have left evidence for his death.
And there's no evidence?
No, there's no cameras.
Not
Cameras didn't
enough.
work on
There
that
was nothing
floor.
there.
And
Well,
all that.
well, I guess the reason why a lot of people thought that he was dead is because, they're saying that he could have snitched on a lot of like high profile people.
Sure.
So they
But he
think they
was-
could
Be
have
the
killed
same
him.
reason to keep him alive and go hide him somewhere too, if you think about it. So
What's up with Giselle, too?
Well,
you think
you-
she can't
Yeah.
snitch?
Well, see, the thing is, like, that's what people said about Tupac, that he is not dead, that he's alive and this and that. But he ain't popping up, and it's been...
Why would he?
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no value in being in the spotlight. There's no value. If you become predominant on your avenues and you make money, like look at Andrew Tate, okay? He was a successful man. He had beneficial things. You think he was talking to the world because he wanted to be number one searched? It just, he saw the flaws in the mentality that we have. And we're getting taken advantage of.
And exploited it.
We're getting taken advantage of, man. Our reality is diminishing more and more. You know, because you come from communist ideology and regimes, right?
Well, I was born into that, but like...
But now you see what we have, and slowly it's deterring. But imagine the multiple generational American that has been given nothing but opportunity. Those are the people that should be standing up more so, but they're numb. They're numb because
it's weird because...
you don't know what you have until you lose it. But they don't even know what they had because they've been born in these comfortable areas. You talk about people that come from Cuba, flee communists. When they come here, they don't turn Democrats. They turn Republicans. Why?
They
Because
don't
of
wanna be the
because they
communists.
understand what the democratic ideology is.
They
It's
lived
like-
through it. They felt it.
Yeah.
They know
So
They
why
what
is it like... But there is a lot of immigrants that are Democrat. So why is that?
Yeah, there's very few that actually
Yeah.
suffered.
To me, like coming from an immigrant background, immigrant family, to me, it's a lot of the media. Like me being a Mexican, I see Mexican media very left wing, very, very, very left sided with everything that they talk about. No reason, just emotion. They just rile people up. No logic.
Divide and
Like
conquer.
when I saw what they did to Trump, when they said Trump came out and said that all Mexicans are rapists and drug dealers, he didn't say that shit. I saw the interview myself. I said, where did he say that? But you got Jorge Ramos, the Mexican diplomat, going on there and saying that Trump said this and that, this and this. But he didn't say that. And they're just going to believe his word because he's the man that shows up after the fucking 9 o'clock novela. Oh, let me listen to him. He's great. No, bro.
Media,
this fool.
man.
No, bro. You're not. Give me some facts. Tell me something real. Show me something real. And then we can talk about that. Don't get me into some emotional state too. You can go in there and say, hey, this is what our people believe. This is what we believe as people. Because Jorge Ramos tells you.
See,
No,
I think
bro.
that's why it's
Show
so
me some
important.
logic.
That's why it's so important to be educated, bro, because self-education is better than the education you get in school. You get enlightened.
Better
you can
than
see
any
things the way you
education
should.
ever.
Learning.
Why don't you just learn things for yourself and put your own opinion on things instead of having the news and the TV and everyone else tell you what to believe? Look at things for what they are.
Because
believe
it takes
things for
work.
what you see it, not because somebody told you to do that. Believe what you see. What's the saying? Believe half what you see and nothing what you hear. Believe what you actually see. Don't sit there and just take somebody else's word for it. Be a human being and question things. Question it and figure it out for yourself and see what it is.
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking to the
See,
max.
they say in the age of technology and AI now, you know, we used to have to say, believe half of what you hear and 100% what you see. Now
Yeah.
they say, believe half of what you see and nothing of what you heard.
That's
Exactly.
a fact. That's factual. You know, I understand how you're swaying it into an opposite aspect, right?
Yeah.
Because I could put your face on somebody else nowadays. You see a video and all of a sudden Roy did this.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to take into consideration what you see is like Mexico is not trying to be negative, but it's why the fuck are motherfuckers wanting to come to this country like my parents did. My
Yeah.
father fled a communist country.
That's true.
You know,
No, it's true.
he didn't come here properly. He ran communist regime to be able to flee and have, you know, a political asylum to come here and bring my brother and my mother here. So you're talking about things that it's factual. Why do people want to come to this country? The opportunity to be able to create wealth does not compare anywhere in the world. You can come here with nothing but a brain and work ethic, and you can create. But slowly and surely, these things are going to get taken from us because you look, all of Europe has been, you know, flooded with people trying to have the same ideas, yet with socialist tendencies and realities, it's like you won't be able to unless you're willing to work. Because I could go there and live on the government's, 2 cents, and what do I got to do?
Yeah.
Nothing. There's people
Well,
like you.
that's
Look
the thing,
California.
yeah.
Look in Bay Area. You have you being a trans, or there's certain aspects of that where you get $1,000, $2,000 monthly income and stuff like that. You know, and it's like you have mothers there that don't have money to pay their rent, or they're living in shelters and stuff like that. But you know, you're compartmentalizing the governmental help that you should be giving to the people that need it, not based on.
So, all right, last question, right? What is the best state to live in? I feel like it's California.
No, it depends.
Yeah, it depends on what you want.
Number 4, it's about to go number 4 economy in the whole world. It's number 5 right now, California in itself.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like from an economical standpoint, it's
A
the
financial
greatest.
standpoint, yeah.
Financial standpoint,
Weather,
right?
there's a lot
Weather.
of benefits, but the government fucks you hard. But crime is.
I mean, there's definitely some things to fix, but
Yeah, but you could look at other states that do their business a lot more proper. Look at Florida, bro. I like Florida. I would say honestly, I wouldn't mind doing business in Florida. Living in Florida, you have all of the avenues of beautiful weather, and Florida follows some moral character and attitude, you know. So my opinion is, if I would have to follow my moral inclination, I would probably go with Florida.
Florida.
But I love being here.
all
because
right,
of people
California is
like
still
you.
the greatest. All
Yeah,
right.
no, it's
I mean,
beautiful out here, but
I guess it's the only place I've ever
it's all
not
we ever,
lived in. I guess.
what
you
else
say.
we ever known? You know what I mean? I've been here
I've
my
been,
whole
I've
life
been
too,
to a couple
so-
other places, but I didn't seem to feel like it was home.
Yeah,
But were you
well,
there long enough
So-
to know if it was?
I mean,
to
I've
be home?
Get out
been
of
to-
your comfort.
Bro, I lived in 3 countries. You know, this is my 3rd country.
What
and
was
I'm
your
like
second?
Yeah.
Spain. So Romania, Spain, and here. So it's like I'd rather just stay here now.
Oh,
Right.
America is far above anywhere else, man.
Yeah, so-
you know.
Well, thanks for coming over. It was an honor.
Sorry, brother.
We'll see you again next time. All right,
man. I enjoyed the conversation.
All right, so thumbs up and follow if you want to know more. Of what's coming up next.
Like, follow, share.
Hey.
Thank you.